Further down through the field, Nick Cole on the Kawasaki and Sloane Chopper Frost. And have a look at Cole. He wasn't taking any prisoners in Ruapuna. The big mistake was made by Robbie Bugden. He took the wrong tyre choice and was well out of it. Someone that wasn't out of it, though, was Hayden Fitzgerald. Had his best performance in the Superbike Championship, but it wasn't enough to stop Andrew Stroud winning yet another Grand Prix title at Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. So here at Hampton Downs, this is the situation in points. Andrew Stroud has got a pretty comfortable lead, so he's well on his way to title number 9. Robbie Bugden still holds on to second place, and Hayden Fitzgerald has jumped up to third. So the final race here at Hampton Downs, this is the Tourist Trophy, and Andrew Stroud, well, he can clinch the championship here, but it wasn't him that got the good start. It was the Australian in the field, the 3-time Superbike champion, and that was Robbie Bugden. A good start too for Nick Cole on the Kawasaki, and Tony Rees showed there was plenty of life in the old dog yet. Craig Sheriff's bad run in the championship continued, and so too did Dan Stouffer's back there on the Brian Bernard Racing Yamaha. But in the early going, it was all the Queenslander. Robbie Bugden said he had a point to prove at Hampton Downs, and he was showing it here in the very prestigious Tourist Trophy race. But it all got too much for the Queenslander. He dropped it, and that allowed Andrew Stroud to assume the front-running positions. There was plenty of great racing going on behind him. Nick Cole and Sloane Frost battling for the minors here, and no love lost between these two. The BMW of Frost proving too good for the Kawasaki. But at the end of the day, Andrew Stroud was too good for the whole Superbike field, and he would win the TT, the Tourist Trophy race, and he would also wrap up his 9th National Superbike title at Hampton Downs. A comfortable win in the end for Hamilton's Andrew Stroud, and another championship title and a trophy for the cabinet. With 1 round to go in the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Championships, Andrew Stroud can no longer be beaten. He sits on 170 points. In second place, it's Robbie Bugden on the Suzuki on 104. And in third place, it's Hayden Fitzgerald's Honda on 91. So race 1 of the Superbikes on pole position, Robbie Bugden. Sitting alongside him, Craig Sheriff, then Dan Stouffer from Australia and Nick Cole. But watch down the inside. Great start coming from row number 2 for James Smith. As they go into 1, Smith's going to squeeze Sheriff's out, and I think he may lead this race. We're on board here with Andrew Stroud. Now, currently Stroud sitting in 4th, make that 3rd place. So just in behind Stroud now, it is Robbie Bugden, and the other Australian in the field, number D, that's Dan Stouffer on the Brian Bernard Racing Yamaha, and then behind them, Nick Cole. So Andrew Stroud up to 3rd, out in the front, James Smith and Craig Sheriff. Well, Sheriff has had a terrible championship season so far, and he said that he would make good here at Manfield. That's exactly what he's doing. So Smith leads it, Sheriff's in 2nd. There is Andrew Stroud. He doesn't need to win any of these races. He would be quite content just to cruise around, but I talked to him before the event, and I said, what's the plan for Manfield? He said, I'm going to go to win. I'm a racer, that's what I do. So there is the mindset of Andrew Stroud. Robbie Bugden getting a little bit closer. These guys have battled for so many years in the New Zealand Superbike Championship title. Bugden has 3 to his name. Stroud will now, he has 9 because he can't be headed in the points battle. Dan Stouffer putting up a good performance as well. Nick Cole into the mix too. In fact, down the inside of James Smith. So Smith starting to go back toward the rest of the field. Out in the front, still Craig Sheriff's. There is Dan Stouffer. Sloane Frost coming into the mix as well on the BMW. There is Bugden just up ahead of him. It is Andrew Stroud, and race leader, the man from Fielding on his hometown track. That is Craig Sheriff's. Great scrap going on here. Nick Cole and Dan Stouffer. Stouffer has had the honour of leading every single race of the Superbikes, but he hasn't been able to put together a win yet. And he's not going to do it here either as he outbreaks himself as they work their way through Higgins. They're on board here with Andrew Stroud. So while we've been watching that battle, Stroud's got to the front of the field, but he's got a fight on his hands now. Suzuki on Suzuki as they streak past the flag position here at Manfield and into 1. Craig Sheriff's having a good long look at Andrew Stroud as they work their way down the straight here at Manfield into the big Dunlop sweeper. Well, we've said it so many times in the commentary before, you don't outbreak Andrew Stroud, and you see the real estate open up between himself and Craig Sheriff as they come onto the front straight through the big sweeper here at Manfield. So Stroud putting a period on his Superbike campaign for 2011. He said he wanted to go out a winner. He has a sneaky look behind him, and I think he didn't see Sheriff's there. Sheriff's trying to come up the inside of him. Back on board here, Craig Sheriff's making another lunge up the inside of Andrew Stroud. Robbie Bugden 6th and 3rd place. Oh, and Sheriff's has pushed Stroud wide onto the grass. Sloane Frost on the M1 Motorsport BMW 1000, and he's uncharacteristically off the pace at the moment. You see the chasing pack just up ahead of him, so problems for the man from Hamilton. Oh, there's been a change at the top of the field as well. Robbie Bugden's got up in front of Craig Sheriffs as they go through Toyota. Turn 1 here at Manfield. Suzuki on Suzuki. Triple R Suzuki versus LG Suzuki. Sheriffs isn't going to give this up without a fight, though. Closes it up as they come through the infield S's. Looks for the inside run. Bugden senses it coming and just moves over. This is a battle at the front of the field in the Superbikes. Andrew Stroud back in third after being pushed wide and onto the grass. Third's still good enough for him to take the title. Bugden misses a gear and Sheriffs goes back into the front. Exciting stuff at Manfield here in the final round of the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Championships for 2011. And it is the local lad, Craig Sheriffs, in the front on bike number 56, the LG Electronics Suzuki. Right in behind him, Robbie Bugden, 3 times the Superbike champion of New Zealand. And back in third place, as we concentrate on this battle at the front, is the 9-time Superbike champion, and that is Andrew Stroud. So through the big sweeper they come and onto the front straight again at Manfield. Craig Sheriffs on the LG Electronics Haldane Suzuki. 1 lap to go for the local lad. Bugden chasing hard. 250, 260, maybe 270 kilometres an hour before they hit the braking area for turn 1. This is a view out the back of Andrew Stroud's bike, and you can see that he's safely in third place. Nothing but clear track behind him. But the battling twosome ahead of him. And there he is. Craig Sheriffs, is he going to register his first win on home turf here in the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships? Well, there'll be a huge cheer from the big crowd here if the local boy can do it, and I think he can. Oh, a bit of a vicious head shake from the big Suzuki, but he holds on to it. Sits up as he goes back through the gearbox, hard on the brakes. Into Higgins he comes once again, the 56. Craig Sheriffs, he's raced under this number for so many years. He's won the 600 Sports Production Championship. He's been the king of the streets. What's he going to do here at Manfield? Is Bugden going to catch him? I don't think he is. Couple of corners to go. Through the big sweeper for the last time. Sheriffs will register a win. Bugden will be... Whoa, well, I nearly spoke too soon because just about a high side. He hits the checkered flag and wins it. Second place will be Robbie Bugden, and in third place it will be Andrew Stroud. We go to the official results, and Craig Sheriffs gets the win on the Suzuki. Bugden is second, Stroud is third, Nick Cole on the Kawasaki fourth, and at fifth it's Hayden Fitzgerald on the Honda.
Craig, that really was a great race. The crowd absolutely loved it. Everybody loved it.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it too. It's probably one of the harder ones I've had for a long time, and it's my first ever win on a superbike at national level, and it's been my 5th season on one, so it's been a bloody long time coming. So yeah, I couldn't be happier at the moment. Just things worked out. It's probably lucky I ran Stroudy off the track when I did, because I'm sure he would have been keen to get back past me. So I certainly didn't do it on purpose, but I just had to pass him, and I had a go there, and I had my own rear brake jammed on, locked up. I couldn't stop or turn, so Andrew's done it plenty, so I just had to do what I had to do to get in front of him.
Well, after 5 hard-fought rounds in the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship, it has come down to this for the 600s. Dennis Charlotte gets off row 1 pretty well. Glenn Scatchell goes with him. Charlotte will dive to the inside and try and lead as they go through 1, and does so. Carl Morgan's got another good start. Scott Moore just lurking in the background there as well. And John Ross looked like he had a good start, but just squeezed out through 1, so he's gone back to about 4th or 5th spot. So it is the champion-elect. You're riding with him here, the camera looking back at the rest of the field, and you might have just seen the shadow behind Dennis Charlotte, and I've got a feeling that that's Glenn Scatchell, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a new race leader. We have, as we cut to the outside shot, Scatchell from Wellington, the Museum Hotel Suzuki, out in the front. And Scott Moyer's pounced as well, so he moves up into 2nd place now. Charlotte maybe a little bit tardy going through the infield hairpin. There he is, number 6. You see the camera sitting on the tail of the Avon Suzuki. Right in behind him, John Ross, currently 2nd in the points in the 600 class. Remember, once again, 2 races within 1 here. Mitch Smart and Jaden Hassan battling it out for the Superstocks. We're on board here with Charlotte down the long back straight at Manfield. That's John Ross right in behind him. Into the braking area they come for this long, long sweeper and out onto the front straight. You see the grid markings from our onboard camera. Scatchell leads it. Moyer in 2nd place. Well, as I said in the race number 1, Glenn Scatchell promised he'd go well at Mansfield, and that's exactly what he's doing. He couldn't find the form in the South Island that he was looking for after a dominant performance in the Suzuki Tri-Series, but he's certainly recaptured that form here at his home track, Mansfield. Scott Moir, well, he's always had form, and he's super aggressive, and there he is in second place on the Wolfpack Honda. Well, there's been changes aplenty further down through the field here, because John Ross now registers in 3rd place. That's Carl Morgan in 4th. Dennis Charlotte back in 5th place. Well, as I said before, he only needs to finish. He doesn't need to win the race to clinch the championship. And he said right from the first round in Timaru that it's all about a championship for the man from Christchurch. This is another man from Christchurch, and he'd love to be in the position that Dennis Charlotte's in. He's not. This is John Ross on the Yamaha. Carl Morgan gets a little bit closer as they work their way through the sweeper. Then it is Charlotte. Then it's the battle of the Superstockers. And it is Midge Smart, and right in behind him, tucked up in his slipstream as they head into 1. The big leg comes out from Jaden Hassan, the Aucklander, just 16 years of age. And this has been a battle right throughout the championship. First time in New Zealand the Superstock class has been in use, and these two have been the standouts. 53, Midge Smart from Taranaki. Up the inside of Smart goes Jaden Hassan on the documentary channel, Yamaha New Zealand R6. So identical bikes. It comes down to rider ability and a little bit of fine feeling, because there's not much you can do to these machines, but it's a 41 of Hassan leading his nemesis, Midge Smart. You're riding on Dennis Charlotte's bike. He sits back in 4th. And I think he is sitting back, because ordinarily you wouldn't see Hassan or either Midge Smart closing up to him under brakes. So maybe Charlotte is just playing it safe here at Mansfield. Down the back straight they come. 2 races within 1, Supersport and Superstock. These are the top 3 Superstockers. Just saw Sam Love in the background there, but it's Hassan leading, bending his 6-foot 4-inch frame over the R6 Yamaha. Right in behind him, Midge Smart. Then we go back to Sam Love. Now it's Dennis Charlotte, and then it's Sam Love. So Charlotte's sitting comfortably at the moment. Then there's a huge gap back to the next of the competitors in the 600s. Let's not forget what's happening out at the front of the field, though. Glenn Scatchell on his winning way. John Ross making a bid for maximum points as well as we ride here with Charlotte. And there is Carl Morgan, still managing to hold out John Ross. Morgan from Auckland on the RCM Suzuki. Got his start on 150 Superstock machines here at Mansfield in the Tim Gibbs Winter Series. A long lamented but long gone series from a few years ago now, but that's where Carl Morgan got his taste of road racing. Right in behind him, John Ross, and a red flag, so we've got a problem out on the circuit. Didn't see where it happened, so that means a restart. All the good work is undone, and they've got to go and do it all again. On row number 1, it is Scatchell, Charlotte, Ross, and Morgan. Away they go. Once again, a bullet start from Scott Moir from row number 2. And going with him, Jaden Hassan and also Midge Smart, so they're in the mix as well. Through 1 they go, Scatchell in the front. Scott Moir wants to argue about it. That is a brilliant start from Moir. From row 2 to be challenging for first as they go into the infield S's. Charlotte through in 3rd. Then it's John Ross and it's Carl Morgan. Moir makes the pass on Charlotte. So he's comfortably in 2nd place now. Now looking for a way around Glenn Scatchell. That's easier said than done, though. Scatchell runs it a little bit wide, but he stays in the front. The Museum Hotel Suzuki, the Honda in 2nd place. We've got a Suzuki in 3rd, and it's the champion-elect, and that is Dennis Charlotte. But this is the battle at the front of the field. They work their way through Higgins. John Ross right in behind Charlotte. Then it's Morgan. Then it's Midge Smart. Then it's Hassan. And then it's Hugenbosen by the look of it. And I think that was James. So a close race in the final of the 600s, and a bit of drama because this is the restart. We've had 2 goes at getting this one finished. 47 leads it. That is Scatchell. Moir in 2nd. Charlotte gets the move on Ross. Maybe the Suzuki just has a bit of an edge in the power department as they head down into Toyota once again. They're queuing up behind him, though. Hugenbosen leading the charge there. Oh, and down goes John Ross. Well, just washed the front end, I think, but that is the championship title hopes gone for the Cantab. So John Ross out of the mix. Now it is Dennis Charlotte, and Carl Morgan wants to come to play as well, the Aucklander. Both of them on 600 GSXR Suzukis, and they collide, and both go down, and the champion-elect's down, and so too is Carl Morgan. Well, Charlotte can't believe it. Have a look at it on the replay. Morgan's just out-braked himself. In fact, he's braked so hard he's picked the rear wheel up. He was trying desperately to stop, but he couldn't do it. He picks up Dennis Charlotte. That's in Higgins. Charlotte comes back on a push bike. Well, that's the first time we've seen that. But I tell you what, he's done enough, and he is the champion in the 600 class here for 2011. Dennis Charlotte, what an interesting way to get back to the pits. This is the third restart, can you believe it, in the final 600 race, and you can see the field very much depleted. No Carl Morgan, but Dennis Charlotte is out there, and so too John Ross, both of them on spare bikes, I would think. But once again, it is the Glenn Scatchell show as they go into one. John Ross in there as well, and Scott Moyer. How many times is he going to have to start from the second row and battle and have the race of his life, only to have it stopped? Fingers crossed we get to the check at this time round. 47. Scatchell leads at the Museum Hotel Suzuki, the Honda, the Wolfpack Racing Honda of Taupo's Scott Moyer. Then it is John Ross, remember, on the spare bike, and right in behind him, she's got another Suzuki, by the look of it, just can't quite pick the number up. I think it might be a Hugenbosen. And in the field as well is the champion-elect, and that is Dennis Charlotte. Well, Glenn Scatchell wants to make it a banner day here at Manfield. He's got plenty of sponsors here from the Museum Hotel, plenty of local fans watching him as well, and he's in the front for the moment. There is a second of the Hugenbosens as we go back to this enthralling battle for the second and third position. Ross is there, Scott Moyer is there as well. Ross out of Christchurch, Moyer out of Taupo, Ross on the Yamaha, Moyer on the Wolfpack Racing Honda out of Taupo. Through turn one they go, and can you believe it? John Ross has gone down again on the spare bike this time. Well, it's gone horribly wrong for the man from Canterbury. It's gone nothing but right for this guy, though. 47 victory wheelies as he comes down to take the checkered flag, and Glenn Scatchell sweeps the day here at Manfield. Well, what a bizarre race. I don't think I've seen anything like it. 3 attempts to get the 600 started, and finally we have a champion in Dennis Charlotte.
Lucky we had the points in the first round to win the championship, so went out on the spare bike just to finish the day, really. Yeah, I went down and saw the steward before I went out, and he said, yep, they'd confirmed the points in the first race, so there shouldn't be any problem there.
We've got here, the 600 class always seems to get a bit heated at the end of the championship, and we tried as hard as we could, and Dennis rode better, so no, that we had a good season, but maybe next year we can go one better.
Well, what a bizarre finish for the 600s, but in the end of the day, it is Dennis Charlotte, the champion, on the Suzuki. In second place, John Ross on the Yamaha, and in third, it is Scatchell on another Suzuki. So this is the final race of the New Zealand Superbike Championships for 2011, brought to you by Castrol Power 1. You're on board here with Sloane Frost, and he's come from about row number 4 to get right up into the mix as they head down into 1. Oh, and there's a little bit of close contact there, and oh, Nick Cole has a look behind, and I think Tony Rees might have been the victim of that one. We'll check that when we see the overall shot. Once again, though, it is the fast starting James Smith out in the front. Andrew Stroud through in second, Bugden in third. Then it looks like Hayden Fitzgerald in fourth. Craig Sheriff's maybe coming through in fifth place, just looking for the yellow bike. Yes, it's in there as well. And then there is a big gaggle of traffic there as you're right on board here with Andrew Stroud, the champion. It can be said now for the 9th time in the New Zealand Superbike class. Bugden wants to go out on top, though, looking for the inside run on Stroud to move through. They're side by side as they go down the back straight. You might get a glimpse of the shadow to see who's made the pass. Andrew Stroud holds on to it. Bugden right in behind him. Look how close it is as they work their way through the sweeper. Hayden Fitzgerald in there. The battle for second, third and fourth on your screen. Out in the front, still James Smith out of Christchurch on the RRR Suzuki GSXR 1000. But they're coming back to him as they go through 1. Hayden Fitzgerald now starts to monster Andrew Stroud, and right in behind Fitzgerald, his past teammate, and that is Craig Sheriffs. And Sheriffs, well, he registered his first win in race number 1 of the Superbikes, his first win of the National Championship Series Trail. Can he make it 2 here at Manfield? Certainly, if you judge by the hometown support, he can. The same can be said for Hayden Fitzgerald, the Taranaki boy. But lots of fans here, has done lots of testing, lots of racing around Manfield, but they're in a battle at the moment for 4th and 5th. Out in the front, 77, James Smith. Right in behind him, his teammate, that is Robbie Bugden. 3 times the New Zealand Superbike champion. Behind him, Andrew Stroud. Closing in on Stroud is Hayden Fitzgerald. This is the view from the back of Andrew Stroud's Pirelli Suzuki. So he's put a little bit of distance between himself now and Hayden Fitzgerald. But you can see just how close Bugden is as they work into turn one once again. Sheriff's there as well. So 3 Suzukis battling out for second, third and fourth at the moment. Well, it may be first because I think that was James Smith just pulling off the circuit through one. So that means that Andrew Stroud has got to the front here, a little bit by default this time. Looks like James Smith has had a mechanical issue, so Bugden now moves up in the second. Sheriffs is in third. Well, these two have battled long and hard. Craig Sheriffs off the Honda, back onto the Suzuki, the mark that took him to national titles in the 600s, and also the Battle of the Streets competition a few years ago now. But it's Suzuki's ruling the roost here at Manfield. 1 is Stroud, 2 is Bugden, 56 is Sheriffs. Forget about the rest of them. This is where the racing is. They come out of Higgins and down the back straight they go. Robbie Bugden has a good long look on the inside as they come up into Dunlop. Thinks better of it. Thinks that if Andrew hasn't gone to the brakes yet, it's time that I did, because Stroud is the last of the late breakers. Oh, and Craig Sheriffs is gone. Oh, and the bike heading to the infield, that could be dangerous. Finally, it stops. Sheriff's stuck in the middle of the track. Have a look at this. Just the back end steps out. Well, I know that he was having trouble with the rear brakes, so I just wonder if this is a reoccurrence of the problem. Great cameras here at Manfield to capture the demise of Craig Sheriffs. Meantime, the racing continues. Bugden in front of Andrew Stroud now. Down into one they go once again. Suzuki on Suzuki. Are we going to see a fitting climax to the Castrol Power One New Zealand 2011 Superbike Championships? We started off at Timaru, we went to Teretonga, then we went to Ruapuna. In the North Island sweep, it was Hampton Downs. That was round 4. This is round 5. This is the grand finale. And you're watching the best Superbike riders in Australasia here. Robbie Bugden leads it from Andrew Stroud. Reverse the positions, and that's how the championship will finish. Stroud can't be beaten, but this one all about pride. And I'm sure the Hamiltonian would want to beat his arch enemy on 2 wheels, and that is Robbie Bugden. But Bugden is leading as they go down the back straight once again. The Triple R Suzuki of Red Fenton. Andrew Stroud in second place. Terminal velocity, as we said, around about 280 kilometres an hour. They brake for the Dunlop sweeper, and out onto the front straight they come. And Stroud gets a little bit closer. He's absolutely relentless. There's 1 lap to go. Can Andrew Stroud cap his championship with a win? He dives down the inside, who won. He can't get the job done. Bugden sees it coming and shuts the door. Stroud will come back at him through the infield S's. Make no mistake about it. He wants to win. He wants to go out in a blaze of glory. To do that, he's got to beat his good mate and his arch nemesis on the track, and that is Bugden. Heading up into the infield, hairpin now, and then it's the Denny Holmes straight. Who'll get the better drive out of the turn? That'll be the difference, I'm sure of it. Stroud tries on the outside this time. Looks for the cutback, doesn't work. Bugden holds on to it. Down into Higgins for the last time. Not only in this race, but in the series. And haven't these two gladiators been fantastic? Stroud up the inside through Higgins. He gets the pass made. Can he hold on to it? Look for the shadow of Bugden. Bugden tries to come back at him. Can't do it. Down the back straight for the last time. Bugden on the inside. Moves to the outside. Tries to crowd Stroud off the track. It doesn't work. Round the sweeper they come. The checkered flag will flutter, and it'll flutter for the 9-time New Zealand Superbike champion. He'll win it in a blaze of glory here at Manfield. Stroud gets the win, and Bugden is second. Well, what a way to cap the championship for Andrew Stroud. He is the winner. Bugden through in second place. In third place, it's Hayden Fitzgerald, and in fourth, it was Sloane Frost. Fifth with Ray Clee, and in sixth, the Kawasaki of Nick Cole.
It was a great race with Robbie there. There's a bit of foxing going on here and there, and but at the end, he really put the hammer down, and I had to give everything I had to close the gap and find a way past, and it kind of worked out.
Robbie, that was a tough race.
Yeah, that was a tough race, mate. That was it's about as tough as they get. You know, it's just a high-speed game of chess out there, and we're just playing it. We're just playing each other for a lot of it, and about 5 or 6 laps to go, I just pulled the trigger and thought it's time to go, and I thought I might have broken him, but knowing Andrew, he's just come last lap, there he was, and you know, full credit to him, he's riding really well, and fortunately today's second is the best we can do.
So the final points wrap-up sees Andrew Stroud dominant on the Suzuki, 211 points from Robbie Bugden's 144. Third place, a great result for the BMW of Sloane Frost.